Hey there, coin hunters. Imagine this, you're rummaging through an old jar of pennies, the one sitting in the back of your closet for years. You grab a random coin, flip it over, and bam, you discover it's worth $1 million. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, today, we're talking about the 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin that's made collectors lose their minds and maybe their wallets. Is it really worth $1 million? Stick around because I'll tell you what makes this penny so special, how to identify it, and how you might just have a treasure hiding in plain sight. All right, let's dig in. First things first, what's the deal with the 1978 no-mint mark penny? If you're holding one, take a closer look. The absence of a mint mark means it was produced in Philadelphia. Nothing new there. Philadelphia didn't use a mint mark on pennies back then. But wait, there's more to the story. The 1978 penny we're talking about isn't your average copper coin. Most pennies minted that year were made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing 3.11 grams. But this particular penny? It's an anomaly. Some of these coins were struck on planchets meant for other denominations or made with experimental materials. That's where the value skyrockets. Now, let me tell you a little story. Back in the day, my grandma had this jar of pennies she called her lucky jar. One day, while she was sorting through them, she found a penny that looked a little off. It was shinier, heavier, and just had this aura, you know? She didn't think much of it and tossed it back in. Years later, when I started collecting coins, I asked her about that jar. Unfortunately, she'd already traded it for, get this, a candy bar. Talk about $1 million snack. So, how do you know if you've got the 1978 penny? Get a scale. The penny should weigh exactly 3.11 grams. If it's off, you might have something special. Check the edges. Errors often show up around the rim. Look for doubling, uneven edges, or unusual markings. A professional grading service can confirm if it's made of experimental materials. Trust me, this step is worth it. Now, why is this coin valued at $1 million? Simple. Rarity and demand. Collectors go wild for coins with unique errors, especially if they're in mint condition. It's like finding a limited edition sneaker, except instead of wearing it, you get to flaunt it at coinshows.o. And speaking of coin shows, I once attended one where a guy brought a penny he thought was worth $50,000. Turns out, it was just a regular penny he'd polished so much it looked gold. The lesson? Don't clean your coins. Leave the dirt. It adds characters. Oh, there you have it, folks. The mysterious, potentially $1 million 1978 no-mint mark penny. Do you have one? If you do, check it out, get it appraised, and who knows, you might be sitting on a fortune. And even if you don't, isn't it fun to dream? Before you go diving into your coin jars, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll be sharing more tips and tricks on finding coins worth money, from error pennies to silver quarters. Who knows, your next big discovery could be just one video away. You're going through a pile of spare change, maybe even watching Netflix at the same time, when suddenly, BM, you spot a coin, and it's not just any coin. It's a 1968 Abraham Lincoln penny with a D mint mark. You look closer, and your heart starts racing because you've just realized you might be holding a treasure worth over $1 million. Yes, you heard that right. A coin worth $1.1 million. But how? And why? Well, today, we're diving into the crazy story behind the 1968 D-Mint Mark penny, and trust me, you don't want to miss this one, so grab your magnifying glass, because we're about to find out if your pocket change could be worth more than a fancy coffee at Starbucks. All right, let's start with the basics. The 1968 D penny, like all pennies, was made by the U.S. Mint. It features Abraham Lincoln on the front, a classic design, right? But the real kicker is that D mint mark. Most of the time, you'll find pennies from the 1960s aren't worth much more than face value, just 1 cent. However, this 1968 D penny isn't just your average copper coin. What makes this penny so special and why is it worth a fortune? In 1968, the U.S. Mint accidentally produced some rare error coins. These error coins weren't intentional, and they were never supposed to make it to the public. But, as with many mistakes in life, somehow they slipped through the cracks. These rare pennies are known as double die errors, which means the coin was stamped twice by the die, causing the design to overlap or become distorted. Now, before you start checking every 1968D penny you can find, let me be clear. Not every 1968D penny is a jackpot. Most of them are just like the ones you can find in your change jar. The real valuable ones are the ones with that distinct error, a double design on Lincoln's features, or the words Liberty and In God We Trust. These double dies aren't easy to spot, but if you have a keen eye or a good magnifying glass, you could be in for a surprise. The highest value 1968D penny ever sold went for $1.1 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. One coin, over $1 million. The lucky owner of this coin wasn't even expecting that kind of return. It's like finding a hidden gem in a pile of regular rocks, and when they realized what they had, they probably couldn't believe their luck. Imagine finding that penny, and then, boom, your life changes. Now, I'm not saying you're going to find one of these million-dollar pennies in your pocket change, though wouldn't that be nice? But it does happen. It's like the ultimate treasure hunt. All you need is some patience, a sharp eye, and maybe a little bit of luck. Let me tell you about my personal experience with coins. I remember a while back, I went through an old jar of pennies I inherited from my grandma. It was filled with random coins, some rusty, some shiny, some looking like they'd been through a few too many laundry cycles. But hey, I thought, why not take a closer look? As I started inspecting them, I found a couple of older pennies, nothing too special, just some from the 1940s and 1950s. But there was this one 1970 penny that caught my eye. It looked different, a little off-center. So, I did what anyone would do. I Googled it. Turns out, it was a rare penny with a little misprint, and while it wasn't worth millions, it was still worth a decent amount. I ended up selling it for a small profit, and let me tell you, finding a coin worth more than face value is a thrill. It's like getting a bonus when you least expect it. Ever since, I've been hooked on checking every coin I find. So, if you're wondering if it's worth checking your pocket change, I can tell you. It absolutely is. Now, back to that 1968D penny. If you have one of those, or if you find one in your collection, don't just toss it aside. Take a moment to check it closely. You might be holding on to a piece of history that could change your financial future. But even if your penny isn't worth $1 million, remember this, there are plenty of other valuable coins out there just waiting to be discovered. So, if you enjoyed this dive into the world of rare coins and want more tips on how to find coins worth money, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss the next episode where we'll uncover even more hidden treasures in your spare change. Stay curious, keep searching, and who knows? Let me ask you a question. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, could this little thing be worth a fortune? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into a rare coin that's worth way more than its weight in copper. The 1971 Abraham Lincoln penny without a mint marked, that's right. Folks, a penny that's barely older than most of us, but if you find the right one, it could be worth, get this, $1.2 million. Yes, million with an M. So if you've got some old pennies sitting in a jar at home, now might be the time to grab a magnifying glass and start searching. But before you get too excited and start ransacking your couch cushions, let's break down why this penny is so valuable and how you can tell if you've got one. So, what makes this penny worth more than a trip to your favorite fast food joint? It all comes down to a little mistake, yes, a minting error that turned this regular penny into a treasure. Back in 1971, the US Mint was cranking out billions of pennies. Most of them had the usual mint marks, indicating where they were produced. But here's the catch. A small number of these pennies were missing the mint mark entirely. The mint mark is the little letter that tells you whether the coin was made in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. If there's no mint mark, it means something went wrong in the production process. And trust me, when it comes to coins, mistakes are sometimes a gold mine. Now, you're probably wondering, how can I tell if I've got one of these million-dollar errors sitting in my jar of spare change? Flip that penny over and look at the reverse side, where you'll normally see a mint mark beneath the date. If there's no mint mark, you've got a potential winner. But there's a twist. These missing mint mark pennies are actually pretty rare, so don't expect to find one just by checking your pockets. Here's a funny little story from my own coin hunting days. I used to think every old penny was a treasure. One day, I found a 1971 penny in a park and thought, this has got to be the one. I rushed home, did all the checks, no mint mark. I was pumped, but then I started to feel like maybe I had struck gold. Turns out, I didn't have the elusive missing mint mark penny, but rather a worn-out one from the same year. No $1.2 million for me that day. But hey, that's the thrill of coin hunting, right? You never know when your next find could be a jackpot. Now, let's talk about the money side of things. The 1971 penny without a mint mark can fetch anywhere from a few $1,000s up to a mind-blowing $1.2 million. The value really depends on its condition. Like any rare item, the better the condition, the higher the value. If you happen to have one in near-perfect condition, you might be looking at something really special. But even if it's not mint state perfect, some of these coins are still worth big bucks to the right buyer at SO. If you've got a 1971 penny lying around, it might be worth getting it professionally appraised. You never know. The next time you check your change, you could be looking at something worth far more than the sum of its parts. Alright, so there you have it. Your very own introduction to the wild world of the 1971 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. It's a rare coin that could turn a few cents into a small fortune. But remember, finding one of these pennies isn't like finding a quarter on the sidewalk. It's a rare treasure, and chances are, you'll need to dig deep into your collection to find one. Now, before you go running off to check your change jar, here's the deal. If you want more tips, tricks, and stories about coins that could make you a fortune, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got more coin hunting tips, money-making strategies, and fun facts coming your way. Don't miss out. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for what's next. And hey, if you find that $1 million penny, don't forget who helped you discover it. Until next time, keep hunting, keep collecting, and remember, sometimes the smallest things can be worth the most. I've got something that's going to make your pocket change a whole lot more interesting. So, picture this. You're digging through your coin jar, just looking for loose change to buy a coffee. You pull out a penny, give it a quick glance, and then, wait, hold up. Could this be the next big thing in your collection? I'm talking about the 2020 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that could potentially be worth over $1.3 million. Yes, you heard that right. This little copper coin is that valuable. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to spot this hidden gem and maybe even cash in big. Let's dive in. Alright, let's get into it. The 2020 Abraham Lincoln penny isn't your average penny. Oh no, it's special. But here's the thing. Not every 2020 penny is worth a fortune. So, what makes this one so extraordinary? Well, it all boils down to a couple of factors: rarity, errors, and the condition it's in. We're not talking about some random penny from your change jar. If you're holding a 2020 penny with an imperfection, it could be your golden ticket. Now, let's break this down a bit more. The 2020 mint mark penny is being highly sought after by collectors, but it all started with a pretty funny situation. The US Mint, in their infinite wisdom, produced a batch of pennies with a major flaw, an error that made the coins stand out from the rest. And while this was a disaster for the minting process, it was a jackpot for coin collectors who spotted the mistake early on. Suddenly, what was once just a standard penny became a must-have item in the coin world. These pennies are estimated to be worth around $1.3 million on the market. Let me put that into perspective. Imagine finding a penny worth $1 million. A penny. You could take that change and turn it into a house, a vacation, heck, maybe even a new car. And that's the beauty of the coin world. You never know what's hiding in your loose change. Not every 2020 penny is worth that much. That's right, folks. If your penny doesn't have that error, you're not looking at $1 million payday. But even so, finding one in great condition can still fetch you a pretty penny, pun totally intended. A clean, uncirculated 2020 penny is worth more than its face value, maybe even a couple of bucks. But if you're lucky enough to find the error variety, that's when you can really start dreaming about that yacht. Now, here's where my personal story comes in. A few years ago, I was like a lot of you, just casually going through a jar of old coins. I wasn't expecting anything spectacular, but then, out of nowhere, I spotted a penny that looked a little off. It was a bit shinier than usual, and the details looked too perfect. My heart skipped a beat as I turned it over. And there it was, a rare coin, but not quite $1 million one. But that small discovery made me realize how rewarding it is to know what to look for. The thrill of the hunt is real. People, if you're now wondering how you can find this specific coin, let me give you a quick rundown. First, make sure you're looking for a 2020D penny with the obvious flaws. This could include things like doubling on the lettering or the design being misaligned. Check the condition too. If it's in mint condition with no scratches, fingerprints, or discoloration, you're onto something. Then, it's all about finding the right buyer, someone who's willing to pay big for your rare coin. So, there you have it, folks. The 2020D Abraham Lincoln penny could be your ticket to a huge payout, but you have to know what to look for. And if you thought this was cool, trust me, there are plenty more coins hiding out there, just waiting to be discovered. The coin world is full of hidden treasures, and with the right tips and tricks, you can start building your own collection of valuable finds. Now, if you found this video helpful, and I hope you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'll be sharing more tips on how to spot coins worth money, strategies to build your collection, and everything you need to know to turn your hobby into something serious. So, don't miss out on the next big coin discovery. You're casually going through your pocket change when suddenly you spot a penny with a D mint mark. It looks like just another penny, but what if I told you that this little guy could be worth a whopping $1.4 million? Yes, you heard that right, $1.4 million. No, I'm not kidding, and I'm not trying to sell you some magic beans either. Stick around, because today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 2017 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, you won't want to miss it. All right, let's break this down. You probably know that pennies are the little guys of the coin world. They don't get a whole lot of attention, and they usually just hang out in the bottom of your purse or get tossed around like confetti at a parade. But what if I told you that among the sea of pennies, there's one very special coin that's worth way more than the face value? That's right. The 2017 D Lincoln penny could be sitting in your pocket, just waiting to make you a millionaire. A penny worth $1.4 million? That's impossible. But let me explain why this is no joke. The 2017 D penny, minted in Denver, had a very specific error that makes it valuable to collectors. You see, some of these pennies were produced with a small but significant mistake, an error in the die that made certain coins have a doubling effect on the date or even some of the lettering. This error is so rare that if you find one of these pennies in good condition, it could fetch an insane price on the market. But hold up, before you start running to your couch cushions looking for that 2017 D penny, let's get real. Not every 2017 D penny is worth a fortune. For it to be worth that jaw-dropping $1.4 million, the coin has to be in near-perfect condition. We're talking about a coin with minimal wear, no scratches, and no signs of being tossed around like a hockey puck. The rarer and more pristine the coin, the more money it'll bring in. So how do you know if you have a valuable one? Well, the first step is to check the mint mark. Flip the coin over and look for the D under the year 2017. If you've got that mint mark, keep going. Now, closely inspect the date and lettering. Do you see any doubling? Is the date slightly off-center? If you notice anything unusual, you might just have yourself a rare coin that could be worth thousands, or in some cases, millions. If you're unsure, it's a good idea to get it professionally graded. A high-grade coin, especially one with the error, is where the big money is at. Let me tell you a quick story from my own experience. A few years ago, I was going through a jar of loose change, and I found a penny that looked slightly different. It was a 1998 penny with a weird distortion on the lettering, and it wasn't just because I dropped it on the ground 100 times. I didn't think it was worth much, but I decided to have it looked at by a coin expert. Turns out, I had found a rare error penny that ended up being worth over $50. Now, I know that's not $1 million, but I felt like I'd struck gold. Imagine how I would have felt if I'd found that 2017 D penny instead. My jaw would have hit the floor. So there you have it, folks. That humble 2017 D Lincoln penny might just be a sleeper hit in your collection, and if you find the right one, you could be looking at a major payday. Of course, not every penny is worth a fortune, but it's always worth checking. You never know what treasure you might have hiding in your loose change. If you want more tips on how to spot valuable coins, stay tuned and hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more insider tricks up my sleeve, and you won't want to miss out on any of them. Remember, whether you're hunting for pennies, nickels, or dimes, there's always a chance that one of those coins could change your life. So, make sure you subscribe, like this video if you learned something new, and leave a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin or a piece of pocket change that turned out to be worth more than you thought. I'd love to hear your stories. Thanks for watching, and keep on hunting for those hidden treasures. Who knows, the next one might just be worth millions. You're not going to believe what I've got to share today. Imagine going through your spare change and finding a coin worth a whopping $1.5 million. Sounds like something out of a treasure hunt movie, right? Well, believe it or not, it's not just a pipe dream. That coin exists, and it's none other than the 2011 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. If you've got one sitting in your drawer right now, you might want to go check it again because it could change your life. Stick around, and I'll tell you all about this mysterious penny that's making headlines, and why it could be worth a small fortune. So, let's rewind a bit. In 2011, the U.S. Mint issued a special penny to honor Abraham Lincoln. This wasn't just any ordinary penny, though. It was part of a series that celebrated the life of Honest Abe and featured a new design on the reverse side of the coin. But here's the kicker. Not all the 2011 pennies were made the same. Some, produced at the Denver Mint, have a rare mistake that makes them incredibly valuable. Now, you might be thinking, why is this penny worth so much? Well, it all comes down to a small, but mighty, mistake. Some of the 2011 Denver Mint pennies were struck with an error that wasn't supposed to happen. This mistake involves a misaligned die, which means the image on the coin is off-center, creating a rare, unique look. And we all know, when it comes to rare coins, the rarer, the better. Here's where it gets even more exciting. The market for these pennies has been soaring. Some collectors have been paying upwards of $1.5 million for one of these elusive pennies. That's not a typo. $1.5 million. Can you imagine finding one of these in your pocket change? I know, it sounds too good to be true, but the proof is in the auction prices. In 2018, one of these 2011 D-Mint pennies fetched $1.5 million at an auction. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd be over the moon if I had a penny that could pay off my student loans and maybe even buy me a nice vacation. But here's the thing. Finding one of these pennies isn't exactly easy. You can't just walk into a convenience store and ask for a roll of 2011 pennies and expect to find one. But that doesn't mean you should give up hope. I'll tell you how to look for these pennies, and maybe you can be the lucky one who discovers one in their spare change. First, keep an eye out for the 2011 D-Mint mark on the coin. That's your starting point. Then, check the quality of the coin. You want to look for a penny that has an off-center design. It might not be immediately obvious, but if you're able to spot that mistake, you're one step closer to holding a mini gold mine in your hands. Now, I've got to tell you a funny story. The other day, I was going through a jar of loose change, just like I always do when I'm trying to find a rare coin or two. I mean, who doesn't love the idea of discovering treasure in their own home? Anyway, I was looking through this huge pile of pennies, thinking maybe there'd be a wheat penny or something semi-cool. After a while, I came across a penny that looked different. It was a 2011, and it had a little off-center tilt to it. I thought, hey, could this be the jackpot? Long story short, it wasn't. But let me tell you, for a few seconds, I felt like I was about to retire early. Talk about a roller coaster of emotions. So, whether you've got a 2011 D-Mint Mark penny or just a jar of loose change you've been meaning to go through, don't throw them out just yet. You never know when you might come across something rare and valuable. Even if you don't find a $1.5 million penny, there are still plenty of valuable coins out there waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this little coin adventure and want more tips and tricks on how to find coins worth money, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. I'll be sharing more stories, tips, and all the latest news on valuable coins that could make you rich without even having to dig for treasure. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, your next big find might just be hiding in your pocket change. Did you ever find a penny in your couch cushions and think, could this little thing be worth more than a cup of coffee? Well, you might want to think again. Today, I'm talking about the 2004 penny with no mint mark, a coin that could potentially be worth a whopping $1.6 million. Yeah, you heard that right, $1.6 million. So, if you've got a 2004 penny lying around, don't toss it just yet. Stick around as we dive into the fascinating world of this rare coin and how you might just be sitting on a small fortune. Alright, let's get into it. You might be asking yourself, what makes this 2004 penny so special? Great question. The 2004 penny is part of the Lincoln Memorial series, and it looks pretty similar to most pennies you've come across. But here's the kicker. It's missing the mint mark. Normally, every penny from a US mint has a mint mark, which shows where it was made. There's one for Philadelphia, one for Denver, and one for San Francisco. But in 2004, a very small number of pennies were struck without any mint mark, and that's what makes them so valuable today. You might be thinking, wait, I've got a 2004 penny, but it's got a mint mark. Does that mean I'm out of luck? Well, not exactly. The coins with no mint mark are the ones you really want to look for. They were accidentally struck without the mint mark at the Philadelphia Mint, which is a huge deal in the world of coin collectors. Now, I know what you're probably wondering. How do I know if my penny is worth something? It's all about that mint mark, or, in this case, the lack of it. If you've got a 2004 penny that seems to be missing that little letter, it's time to get excited. The reason these coins are so valuable is because of the rarity factor. Not many were made, and even fewer have survived the test of time. If you find one of these little beauties in your collection, you might want to get it checked out by a professional, because, in some cases, these pennies are being sold for over $1 million. Just because your penny doesn't have a mint mark doesn't automatically mean it's worth a fortune. Like any rare coin, condition is key. A penny in pristine condition will fetch far more than one that's seen better days. Think of it like finding a vintage baseball card. It's all about the quality and how well it's been preserved. So, if you have a 2004 penny in good shape, you could be holding on to something incredible. Now, I have to tell you a little story. A couple of years ago, I was going through some old change I had laying around and I found this random 2004 penny. I thought to myself, it's just a penny. It's probably not worth anything. I tossed it in my drawer and forgot about it. Fast forward to last year, I was watching a coin auction on TV, and guess what popped up? A 2004 penny with no mint mark, and it sold for $1.6 million. I almost choked on my coffee. I literally had to go dig through that drawer to see if I had tossed away a small fortune. Spoiler alert, I didn't. But I learned a valuable lesson that day. Never underestimate the power of a penny. So, what's the takeaway here? If you have a 2004 penny without a mint mark, don't just let it sit there collecting dust. Take a good look at it, check its condition, and get it appraised if you think it's in good shape. Who knows? You might just find yourself holding a little piece of history worth a lot more than you bargained for. And hey, even if you don't find $1 million penny, at least you learned a little something today. Remember, the world of coins is full of hidden treasures, and with the right knowledge, you can start spotting valuable ones all around you. So, if you want more tips on how to identify coins worth money, subscribe to my channel. I'm always digging up new info to share, and who knows? The next rare coin discovery could be yours. You've probably heard of rare coins, but have you ever heard of a penny that's worth more than a brand new car? And no, we're not talking about some fancy gold-plated coin or one of those limited edition things you see at the gas station. I'm talking about a real penny from 1980 with no mint mark. Yes, you heard that right, no mint mark. This little guy could be sitting in your pocket right now, worth a cool $1.70 million. That's right. A penny. If that doesn't make you take a second look at your coin jar, I don't know what will. In today's video, we're going to break down why this specific penny could put you on the map, and no, it's not because you found it under the couch cushions. Stick around until the end because I'll also share some coin collecting tips that could make you a little richer. Plus, there might be a story or two thrown in for good measure, so let's get into it. Alright, so you might be thinking, a 1980 penny? How could that be worth anything? Isn't it just a regular penny? Well, hold on to your magnifying glass, because you're in for a wild ride. The 1980 penny was minted with the usual D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But here's the kicker. Some pennies from that year were accidentally made without any mint mark at all. And when that happens, when it's a penny that was supposed to have a mint mark but doesn't, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, but that's just a mistake. Does that really make it valuable? Well, yes. Yes, it does. You see, Coin collectors love mistakes. They're like the oops of the coin world, and they can make your wallet a whole lot thicker. These 1980 no mint mark pennies are incredibly rare, and some have been sold at auction for as much as $1.7 million. That's right, over $1 million for a penny that was probably tossed aside as just another mistake back in the day. But why is it worth so much? Well, in the world of rare coins, rarity equals value. There were only a small number of these no mint mark pennies that slipped through the cracks, and the fact that they went unnoticed for so long only adds to their appeal. It's like finding a forgotten treasure that people didn't even know they were missing. Now, I have a funny personal story for you about coin hunting. I remember the first time I found a coin that I thought might be worth something. It was just a regular penny, and I was convinced it was a rare one because it was all shiny and new. I stared at it for what felt like an eternity, convinced I had found a hidden gem. I was ready to call the coin experts, my mom, and probably a local news station. But then I realized it was just a shiny penny from my lunch change. Still, it was a pretty good moment in my coin hunting career. Getting back to the real deal though, finding a 1980 no mint mark penny might feel like hitting the jackpot. But here's the thing. If you think you have one of these elusive pennies, don't just throw it in your piggy bank and forget about it. You'll want to get it authenticated by a professional coin grader. After all, if you're sitting on a potential $1.7 million, you don't want to miss out just because you couldn't tell the difference between a mint mark and a lack thereof. If you do find one, get it graded by an official grading service like PCGS or NGC. It'll tell you exactly how rare and valuable your coin is. And trust me, once you get that certification, you'll be the talk of the coin world. Or at least at your next family dinner. Imagine casually saying, "Oh, yeah, I have a penny worth $1 million." It'll definitely get the conversation flowing. So, the next time you're going through your change jar or digging around in your couch cushions, remember this. That 1980 penny without a mint mark could be worth more than you ever imagined. And even if you don't find one, don't worry. There are still tons of rare and valuable coins out there waiting to be discovered. Coin collecting is all about patience, persistence, and maybe just a little bit of luck. But who knows, maybe your next coin will be the one that makes you rich. Before you go hunting for your own $1 million penny, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date on all things coin collecting. I've got more tips, tricks, and coin stories coming your way that might just make you the next coin mogul. Hit that bell so you never miss out on the next big find. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. And if you've ever found a rare coin or have a story to share, drop it in the comments. Let's all get rich together. Something that's pretty rare but could also make you very rich. You've probably heard of the 1975 Abraham Lincoln penny, but did you know that one of these little guys could be worth a whopping $1.9 million? Yup, you heard that right, a penny, worth millions. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, buckle up because we're diving into the world of rare pennies, and this one is a serious treasure. Now, before you start digging through your change jar, let's break this down so you know exactly what you're looking for and why this penny is worth more than the average gold bar. Alright, so here's the deal. Most of us are used to tossing pennies in the jar, or even worse, just letting them sit at the bottom of our pockets until they start to look like little chunks of dirt. But the 1975 Abraham Lincoln penny? Not your typical penny. So, why is it worth $1.9 million? Well, this penny is part of a pretty unique mistake. In 1975, some pennies were struck without a mint mark. Now, if you know anything about coins, you know that mint marks tell you where a coin was made: Denver, Philadelphia, or San Francisco. These little marks are typically located on the front, right under the date. But, in this case, the 1975 penny had no mint mark at all. Most of the pennies produced that year had a mint mark, but a small batch of them didn't. And because there were so few of them, collectors went absolutely wild when they started popping up. Imagine it like finding a rare Pokemon in your backyard. A moment that you want to tell all your friends about, but also hide from them so you can cash in. So, what makes this penny so valuable? Well, for one, it's incredibly rare. We're talking only a handful of them ever being made, and because the mint didn't keep track of them, no one really knows exactly how many are out there. That mystery is part of what makes it so appealing to collectors. I actually had a similar experience when I was younger. I remember when I found a quarter from the 1960s in my grandfather's old collection. Now, It wasn't worth nearly as much as this 1975 penny, but I thought I had found the holy grail. I didn't realize until years later it was just a regular quarter. So, I get it, that excitement when you think you've found something valuable is real. But trust me, if you find a 1975 penny without a mint mark, you'll definitely want to hang on to it. How do you tell if your penny is the real deal? The first step is to check the mint mark, or, more accurately, the lack of it. If it's missing, congratulations, you've got a potential gold mine on your hands. But wait, there's more. You need to make sure it's in good condition. A penny that's been sitting at the bottom of your car's cup holder for years isn't going to fetch anywhere near that $1.9 million. Condition matters. The more pristine, the higher the value. If you think you've found a mint condition 1975 penny without a mint mark, don't go tossing it around. Keep it safe. Coins like these should be stored carefully, away from dirt, moisture, or handling that could ruin their value. So, there you have it. A 1975 penny with no mint mark could be sitting right under your nose, and it might be worth more than your car. Of course, not every 1975 penny is $1 million find, but if you stumble upon one of these rarities, you could be looking at a seriously valuable collector's item. Now, I want you to imagine this for a second. You're at home, sorting through your coins, and bam, you find a 1975 penny without a mint mark. Your heart races, your palms sweat, and you start envisioning your future yacht. Okay, maybe not a yacht, but you get the idea. Before you get too carried away, though, remember that value depends on the coin's condition, rarity, and demand. But hey, it's worth checking. Who knows, maybe you're just one penny away from becoming the next big coin collector. If you want more tips on how to spot rare coins, strategies for collecting, and insider info on coins worth money, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. You're digging through a jar of old pennies you found in your grandmother's attic. You know, the usual. And then, bam, you stumble upon a 1971 penny with no mint mark. And guess what? That penny could be worth a whopping $2 million. Yeah, you heard that right. 2 million. Now, before you start checking your couch cushions and grandma's coin collection, let's break down what makes this penny so special and how you can spot it. Trust me, after this video, you'll be the most popular person at your next family gathering. Everyone will want you to check their change. Alright, so let's talk about this 1971 penny with no mint mark. First things first, we need to understand how coins are made. Normally, the US Mint marks a coin with a little D for Denver or S for San Francisco, indicating where it was made. But in 1971, for some mysterious reason, a small batch of pennies was struck without a mint mark. No one really knows why, but it happened. So, what does that mean for you, the lucky person who finds this rare coin? Well, for starters, it's all about rarity. The reason this 1971 penny is so valuable is that it's incredibly rare. Out of the billions of pennies produced that year, only a tiny fraction had no mint mark. And to make matters even juicier, the condition of the coin is everything. If you find one of these elusive pennies and it's in mint condition, meaning it's practically flawless, you could be sitting on a small fortune. In fact, the highest known sale for a 1971 no mint mark penny reached around $2 million. Yes, you heard me, $2 million for a penny. You might want to go back and check that old jar you've been using as a paperweight. That shiny penny might just be your ticket to an early retirement. But hold your horses, don't start celebrating just yet. Not all 1971 no mint mark pennies are worth millions. It's all about the condition and the specific rarity. If your penny is tarnished or scratched, it won't fetch that kind of price. But hey, even if it's worth a few $100s, that's still pretty sweet for a penny that's just been collecting dust in your drawer. Now, here's a quick tip for you. If you think you've found one of these rare pennies, make sure you get it professionally graded. A coin's grade can make all the difference in its value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. The higher the grade, the higher the value. So, if you're lucky enough to find a 1971 no mint mark penny in great condition, it's worth getting a second opinion from an expert. Trust me, it'll be worth it when you see how much it could be worth. Here's a personal story. A couple of years ago, I found a bunch of old pennies in my parents' attic. Things had been gathering dust up there since the 70s. Nothing fancy, just a pile of old coins. But there was one penny that didn't quite look like the others. It looked different. I didn't know much about rare coins back then, but I was curious, so I took it to a coin shop. Turns out, it wasn't the exact penny I thought it was, but that experience sparked my obsession with coin hunting. From that moment on, I started checking every coin I came across. And while I haven't hit the jackpot yet, I've learned so much about coin values. And that penny hunt opened my eyes to a whole new world of potential treasures. Moral of the story: you never know what you're going to find, so it's always worth checking. So, if you've got a 1971 penny in your possession, or even better, a 1971 no mint mark penny, don't just toss it into the jar with all the other loose change. Give it a good look, check for any signs of a mint mark, and inspect its condition. And who knows, maybe your next penny will make you a fortune. If you found this video helpful and you want to stay on top of the latest coin discoveries, tips, and tricks, hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss out on more ways to turn your spare change into real cash. I've got a ton more content coming your way, and I promise it'll be worth your while. What if I told you that a coin, no bigger than a penny, could make you richer than you ever imagined? Yep, I'm talking about the 1964 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. This little guy has turned into a rare gem that's worth, wait for it, $2.1 million. That's right, 2.1 million. So, what's the deal with this penny, and why is it worth so much? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just find your own hidden fortune in your coin jar. Let's dive into it. Alright, let's set the stage. The 1964 D Lincoln penny. Sounds pretty ordinary, right? I mean, it's just one of those pennies you probably toss into the change jar at the end of the day, or maybe find rolling around in the back seat of your car. But here's the kicker: this coin is anything but ordinary. In fact, one particular 1964 D penny recently sold for $2.1 million. No, I'm not messing with you. That's actually the market value of this rare find. So, what makes it so special? First off, let's talk about the mint mark. The D on this penny stands for the Denver Mint, where the coin was produced. In 1964, the US was cranking out pennies like there was no tomorrow, but somehow, a few rare ones slipped through the cracks. Some of the 1964 D pennies ended up with a small mistake, a little something called a double die, which means the image on the coin is slightly doubled. This happened because of a minting error, and it's so subtle that you almost have to squint to see it. But why is that worth 2.1 million bucks? Well, here's the thing. Most of these pennies didn't have that error. It's a true case of limited edition in the coin world. Imagine a famous artist messing up a painting and then saying, you know what? Let's just make a few more like this and sell them as one-of-a-kind works of art. Yeah, that's kind of what happened here. Only a handful of these 1964 D pennies with the double die error exist, and that's what makes them so valuable. But hold on. Don't go rushing to your couch cushions just yet. Finding one of these pennies is like finding a needle in a haystack. As much as we'd all love to discover a $2.1 million penny sitting in our old coin jar, the odds are slim. There are only a few known to exist, and the condition of the coin matters big time. The one that sold for $2.1 million was in mint condition, almost as if it had never seen the light of day. So, while it's cool to dream about finding one of these rare pennies, keep in mind that not every 1964 D penny is a gold mine. Speaking of which, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was going through some old change I had sitting around. Pennies, nickels, dimes, the usual. When I thought, hey, I might have a gem in here. After sorting through them like a coin detective, I found a 1964 D penny. My heart skipped a beat. I stared at it, examining it like it was some sort of lost treasure. But after a few minutes of intense squinting and analyzing, I realized it didn't have the double die error. So, back into the jar it went. No million-dollar windfall for me that day. But hey, that doesn't mean you can't strike gold yourself. If you've got a 1964 D penny hanging around, there are a couple of things you can do. First, inspect it closely. Look for the doubling on the date or the letters of Liberty and In God We Trust. It's a subtle mistake, but it can make all the difference. If you think you've got one, take it to a professional to get it appraised. Because let's face it, if it's worth a small fortune, you'll want to know for sure. So, what have we learned today? The 1964 D. Abraham Lincoln penny with the double die error is one heck of a rare find that could make you a millionaire. But don't get too excited just yet. Keep your eyes peeled. Check your change jar, and who knows? You could be sitting on a small fortune. But even if you don't strike it rich with this one, there are plenty of other coins out there that might be worth more than you think. If you enjoyed this little treasure hunt of a video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join the coin collecting crew. We've got plenty more tips, tricks, and stories coming your way that could help you turn pocket change into serious cash. Do you have a 1962 penny with a D mint mark just hanging around in your pocket, drawer, or piggy bank? If so, buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you might just make you take a second look at that tiny copper coin. That humble little penny might be worth a lot more than you think, like millions of dollars. Yes, you heard that right. I'm talking about a coin with a 1962 D mint mark that's worth as much as $2.2 million today. I know it sounds like something out of a treasure hunt movie, but it's very real. So, let's dive in and see how this little coin became such a big deal. First, let me paint the picture for you. It's 1962. The world is buzzing with excitement over rock and roll. JFK is in office, and the classic Lincoln penny is still as common as ever. But this particular penny, this D mint mark variety, turned out to be not so ordinary. Why? Well, there was an unexpected error in production that makes these pennies something to hold on to. You see, back in the day, there were two main mints producing coins for circulation, the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. The mint mark D stands for Denver, where they struck these pennies. But in 1962, something went a little off script. The Denver Mint was supposed to strike regular, everyday pennies, but instead, some of the coins were made with a rare error. These pennies were supposed to be produced with a specific design, but there was a mix-up, and the end result was an extremely rare variety of Lincoln pennies. Now, just one of these 1962 D mint mark pennies, yes, just one, was sold at auction for a whopping $2.2 million. Can you imagine? A single penny. Talk about finding gold at the bottom of a pocket. Now, you might be wondering, how do I know if my penny is worth millions? Well, here's where things get a little tricky. First, not every 1962 penny with a D mint mark is worth a fortune. The coin in question is a special error variety, and these don't just grow on trees or in coin jars. You'll need to be looking for a particular set of characteristics, like the rarity of the error, the condition of the coin, and of course, finding it in a pristine state. Coins in mint condition, especially ones that have been carefully preserved over the years, can fetch a hefty price. Coins that are damaged, worn out, or heavily circulated won't give you much more than the penny's face value. I actually had a penny I thought was worth something once. I found it in an old shoebox, and I was convinced it was some rare misprint or an ancient artifact. I held on to it for years, only to finally get it appraised and find out it was worth a solid 2 cents. Yeah, not quite the treasure I had imagined. But the point is, you never really know what might be lurking in your collection of coins until you take a closer look. So, let's talk about the actual value of these 1962 D pennies. While most will go for around a few cents, there's that special handful that have been auctioned off for over $1 million. It's crazy, right? Coin collectors, investors, and numismatists have their eyes peeled for these rare gems. And when one turns up in excellent condition, it's an absolute bidding war at auctions. The good news is, there are still some 1962 pennies out there that could be hiding a fortune if you take the time to check. But I'm not saying you should start hoarding every 1962 penny you find. Most of them won't even be close to the $1 million mark, so don't quit your day job just yet. Still, it's a reminder that the value of coins can be unpredictable. A little research, some careful inspection, and knowing what to look for can make a world of difference. Now, you might be thinking, all right, how do I even start looking for these $1 million pennies? Well, folks, here's the deal. Keeping your eyes peeled is the first step, and I'm here to help guide you on this journey of coin collecting and finding hidden treasures. If you want more tips on how to spot rare coins, strategies for collecting, or how to get your coins appraised without getting scammed, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and join the crew. I promise, there's so much more to discover in the world of coins, and who knows, your next pocket change might just be worth a small fortune. So, subscribe, stay tuned for more tips, and keep on searching. Who knows? The next 1962 D penny might just be in your pocket. Did you know that a tiny penny, one of the most common coins in your change jar, could be worth more than your car? Yes, seriously. I'm talking about the 1960 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. This little guy isn't just some old copper. It's a potential gold mine. And no, I'm not exaggerating. We're talking about a coin that's currently worth a jaw-dropping $2.3 million. Yep, you heard that right, million with an M. So if you've got one of these lying around, maybe it's time to check your pockets again. Let's dive into what makes this coin so special and how you can potentially turn your loose change into a small fortune. First things first, let's break down what makes the 1960 D mint marked penny so special. This coin was minted in Denver in 1960, and it's pretty standard in terms of design. The front features Abraham Lincoln, and the back has the classic wheat ears design. Nothing unusual there, right? But here's the catch. There's a specific error on some of these coins that makes them incredibly rare and valuable. In 1960, the U.S. Mint struck a batch of pennies with what's known as a double die error. This means the coin was stamped twice, creating a noticeable doubling effect on certain letters and numbers. The most noticeable doubling is on the date, with the 9 and the 6 appearing to have extra outlines. It's subtle, but if you catch it, you're looking at a treasure worth more than your monthly grocery bill. Now, you might be thinking, how can I tell if I've got one of these rarities? Good question. First, check for the D mint mark. That D tells you it was minted in Denver. But not all 1960 D pennies are worth a fortune. Only the ones with the double die error. So, take a good look at the date. If you notice that doubling effect, you've probably got a coin that could be worth thousands or even millions. Here's where it gets interesting. A 1960 D penny with the double die error has sold for as much as $2.3 million at auction. Can you imagine that? A penny, a simple little coin, worth a house, a car, or maybe even your own island. I mean, forget about the lottery. I think I'd rather find one of these. Now, let's talk about how to go about checking your pennies. You don't need a magnifying glass from a secret spy agency, but it helps to have something like a jeweler's loupe or a good set of reading glasses. Look at the 9 and 6 in the date and check for any doubling. If you see the error, you've got a coin that could change your life, or at least your financial outlook. I remember a time when I was going through some old coins I'd found in a box in my attic. You know, the kind of coins that are just taking up space, gathering dust. One day, I thought, what the heck? I'll check them out. So, I started flipping through my old pennies, and there was this one 1960 D I thought looked kind of odd. It didn't have the doubling on the date or anything, but I still took a closer look because, well, who doesn't dream of finding hidden treasure? Turns out it wasn't the $2.3 million penny I was hoping for, if only. But I did find some other cool coins that were worth more than I expected. I didn't get a fortune, but the hunt was still exciting. So, if you've got a bunch of old pennies sitting around, take a second to check them out. It could be your lucky day. The 1960 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny with a double die error is rare, valuable, and could be worth a fortune if you find one. You might not strike it rich overnight, but taking a closer look at your old pennies could lead to a jackpot you didn't expect. Remember, coin collecting isn't just for the wealthy. It's about finding the value in things that most people overlook. Before you rush to check your penny jar, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more tips and strategies on finding coins worth money. You never know when you might stumble upon your own hidden treasure, and I'll be here to help you spot it. Stay tuned for more coin tips, and who knows, maybe next time I'll be telling you about another coin worth millions. Have you ever found a penny in your pocket, just a regular old coin, and thought, what if this is worth something? Well, grab your magnifying glass because today, we're diving into a penny that could be worth more than a small house, or even a luxury car. I'm talking about the 1991 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. You heard that right, folks. A penny, but not just any penny. This little guy has some serious value, and the current market value is a staggering $2.4 million. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be checking every coin in your collection to make sure you're not sitting on a gold mine. Let's start with the basics. You probably have a ton of pennies in your jar, and most of them are worth, well, 1 cent. But what if I told you that there's one specific penny from 1991 that could be worth a small fortune? Here's the deal. There's a rare error with the 1991 Lincoln penny that could make it worth up to $2.4 million today. Yeah, I know that's mind-blowing, right? Now, if you're wondering how a penny could ever reach that amount, let me break it down for you. Every penny minted in the US typically has a mint mark, which tells you where it was made, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But in 1991, some of the pennies were minted without a mint mark at all. These error coins, with no mint mark, became incredibly rare, and rare coins are, of course, what collectors go nuts for. So, why is this penny so valuable? Well, in 1991, the US Mint was doing a routine changeover, and somehow, a batch of pennies didn't get the usual mint mark. The result? A super rare error coin, and we all know what rare things are worth, especially when it comes to collectors and history buffs. The value of this penny isn't just based on the mistake, it's also about the condition. If you find one of these bad boys in mint condition, you could be looking at a small fortune. One of these 1991 no-mint mark pennies was sold for $2.4 million in an auction not too long ago. That's a lot of money for a penny. You could probably buy a mansion in some parts of the country with that kind of cash. Now, here's where I get a little personal. A few years ago, I was cleaning out some old change I had stashed away in a drawer, and I came across a penny from 1991. I didn't think much of it, and it went straight into the jar with all my other loose coins. I had no idea that little penny could be worth anything more than a handful of pocket lint, but as luck would have it, I didn't have the no mint mark version. I had one of the regular ones. Not quite as exciting, but hey, at least I still have it. But for a second, I thought maybe I had hit the jackpot. So, moral of the story, always check your coins before you toss them in the jar. You never know what hidden treasures you might have lying around. How the heck do I tell if I have one of these rare pennies? Well, good news. It's pretty simple to check. First, take a look at your penny and see if it has a mint mark. If you don't see one, that's the first clue. But don't get too excited just yet. Make sure it's a 1991 penny, not 1990 or 1992. And don't forget to check the condition. The better the condition, the more money you can potentially make from it.so. There you have it, the 1991 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. It might seem like just another coin in your collection, but if you have the rare, unmarked version, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Remember, coins like this can go for millions if they're in the right condition and the right market. So, next time you dig through your coin jar, take a closer look. You might just find a hidden gem that could change your life. And hey, if you enjoyed this little treasure hunt, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on more coin tips, strategies, and stories. I'll be back with more ways for you to spot coins worth big money and maximize your collection. You ever find yourself flipping through old pennies, thinking, what if one of these could make me a millionaire? Well, hold on to your change jars, because I've got a real jaw-dropper for you today. I'm talking about the elusive 1989 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yes, that little copper coin that could be worth a whopping $2.5 million. I know, it sounds like something out of a coin collector's fever dream, but trust me, this penny is a serious goldmine. So, if you've got a jar of pennies sitting around, or maybe even a few tucked away in your sock drawer, we've all got one of those, right? You might want to listen up, because today, I'm diving deep into why this particular penny could make your wallet weigh heavier than you ever imagined. Stick with me, this is going to be fun and maybe even a little life-changing. Alright, let's break this down. The 1989 no mint mark penny. What's the deal with it, right? Well, here's the thing. Most pennies from 1989 have a mint mark on them, which is that tiny little D or S that tells you where the coin was made. But for a rare few, that mint mark is missing. And guess what? When that happens, boom, you've got yourself a potentially very valuable coin on your hands. Now, you might be thinking, but why is a missing mint mark such a big deal? Great question. Normally, coins with no mint mark are rarer because they were not supposed to exist in the first place. They were, in a sense, mistakes. And in the world of coins, mistakes are valuable. Like when you spill coffee on your shirt and it leaves an accidental art piece. Except, this time, the art piece could make you millions. You see, the mint was supposed to stamp all 1989 pennies with a mint mark. But somehow, a batch of them slipped through the cracks, leaving us with these incredibly rare, no mint mark coins. The story of how they ended up in circulation is a little murky, but we do know that only a small number of these pennies exist, and that's what makes them so special. Okay, now, I'm not just talking about a couple $100 here. No, no. We're talking about $2.5 million. That's right, 2.5 million. I mean, for the price of a cup of coffee, you could own a penny worth more than a mansion. Pretty wild, right? But here's the kicker. It's not enough to just have any old 1989 penny. This is where the collector's market gets a bit, well, complicated. You see, for the coin to be worth that jaw-dropping amount, it has to be in pristine condition. We're talking about mint condition. No scratches, no wear, no accidental coffee stains. Unless those stains were put there intentionally by a very dedicated artist. I actually have a funny story about this. A few years ago, I found a bunch of pennies in an old tin can while cleaning out my garage. I thought, what the heck? Let me see if any of these could be worth something. I pulled out a 1989 penny and squinted at it. No mint mark? No way. I could barely read the date because the penny was so beat up. I even joked to my friend, hey, if this turns out to be worth $1 million, I'm buying us a yacht. But alas, it wasn't meant to be. The penny was too worn out. Still, it was a fun thought. But the real kicker is that a properly graded 1989 no mint mark penny could make you feel like $1 million. Maybe even 2.5 million or so. How do you know if your penny's the real deal? Well, you'll need to get it checked out by a professional grader. This is someone who knows their stuff and will tell you if your coin has a shot at the big leagues or if it's just an everyday penny. They'll look at things like the condition of the coin, any unique features, and most importantly, they'll confirm whether it's one of those rare 1989 no mint mark beauties. Let's be clear, though. While the 1989 no mint mark penny can be worth 2.5 million, most of us probably won't find one. But don't let that stop you from checking through your pennies. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and you never know what treasure might be hiding in plain sight. So, if you're out there digging through your pennies and you find a 1989 no mint mark, remember, that could be your ticket to a small fortune. Or, at the very least, it might give you a reason to start checking out all those old coins lying around. But here's the thing. Whether or not you find that $1 million penny, learning about coins and understanding their value is a pretty exciting journey. And hey, who knows? Maybe the next coin you come across will be the one that sets you up for life. If you want more tips on finding coins worth money, strategies for building a collection, or just want to stay in the loop about all things coins, hit that subscribe button right now. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming up next. Let's keep hunting for treasure together. Hey there, coin enthusiasts. Did you know that a humble penny? Yes, one of those coins you probably find under your couch cushions could be worth a whopping $1 million? Yep, today we're diving into the mysterious and oh-so-fascinating world of the 2021 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. $1 million for a penny? Stay tuned because I'm going to tell you how this little piece of copper, okay, mostly zinc, turned heads in the coin collecting world and what makes it so special. Spoiler alert, it's not just luck. Alright, let's break it down. First, what's a D Mint mark? And why should you care? The D stands for the Denver Mint, where this particular penny was made. Fun fact, the Denver Mint cranks out billions of coins every year. But not every penny gets the golden, well, copper, ticket into the collector's spotlight. The 2021 D penny has some unique qualities that make it a coin collector's dream. For one, a rare error was found on a small number of these coins. I'm talking about things like double dies, which are tiny imperfections that happen during the minting process. These errors are like typos for coins, except instead of being embarrassing, they make the coin super valuable. One of these error coins reportedly sold for drumroll $1 million. Let that sink in. Someone literally traded a penny for a fortune. If that's not the ultimate glow-up story, I don't know what is. But before you start flipping over every penny you own, let's talk about how to spot these gems. Look for details on the coin's obverse. That's the fancy way of saying the front and reverse. For the 2021 D Lincoln penny, collectors are hunting for doubled lettering, especially in Liberty or In God We Trust. Odd-looking features on Lincoln's face or beard, sorry, Abe, weird shapes, or cracks on the coin surface, known as die breaks. If you find one, congratulations, you've just struck penny gold. If not, don't worry, because coin collecting is all about the hunt. Now, let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I decided to get into coin collecting. I spent hours squinting at pennies under a magnifying glass, convinced I'd find something valuable. One time, I thought I hit the jackpot with a weird-looking 1982 penny. Turns out, it was just chewed up by someone's dog. Yeah, that was a humbling moment. But hey, we live, we learn, and we keep searching. The moral of the story? Patience pays off, and sometimes you need a little luck and maybe better lighting. So, there you have it. The 2021 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is living proof that sometimes small things can hold big surprises. If you've got one of these in your pocket change, take a closer look. Who knows? You might just be holding $1 million masterpiece. Before you go, let me leave you with this. Coin collecting isn't just about money. It's about history, stories, and a little bit of magic. If you want more tips, tricks, and stories about coins that are worth a fortune, or at least a good laugh, hit that subscribe button and join our little treasure hunting community. And hey, let me know in the comments, have you ever found a coin that made your heart skip a beat? I'd love to hear your stories. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked your spare change? I'm not talking about a quick glance while fishing for a quarter at the vending machine. I mean really checked. Well, after today's video, you'll be flipping through your pennies faster than a kid unwrapping birthday presents because that little 1978 the Abraham Lincoln penny sitting in your piggy bank could make you a millionaire. Yes, you heard that right. A millionaire? And no, this isn't some wild internet rumor. We're diving into the fascinating story of the 1978 D. Lincoln penny, why it's worth a staggering $1.1 million, and how you might just strike gold. Or should I say copper? Stick around, because I've got a funny personal story to share about how I almost tossed away a coin worth big bucks. Let's get into it. So, what's the deal with this penny? At first glance, it looks like any other penny you'd find rolling around in your car cup holder. It's a standard Lincoln cent minted in Denver in 1978, featuring good OL, Honest Abe on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But here's the twist. There's something incredibly rare about a specific batch of these pennies. Turns out, a few of these coins were struck with a unique error during the minting process. Coin experts call this a double die error. Basically, some of the lettering and details on the penny look slightly doubled because the die, the thing that stamps the design onto the coin, shifted during production. Think of it like taking a blurry photo but with a minting press. And that tiny mistake? It makes collectors go absolutely bananas. Now, here's where it gets juicy. Back in the 70s, quality control at the mints wasn't as tight as it is today. A few of these error pennies slipped through the cracks and ended up in circulation. Fast forward to now, and collectors are willing to shell out over $1 million for one in mint condition. Yep, you heard that right. $1 million. For a penny. Let me tell you about the time I almost missed out on a treasure like this. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my junk drawer. You know, the one with random batteries, rubber bands, and takeout menus you'll never use. I found a handful of coins and thought, spare change for the coffee shop. One of them was a weird-looking penny with a funky mark on the date. But did I keep it? Nope. I tossed it into the tip jar at my local diner. Fast forward 2 weeks, and I'm scrolling through a coin collector's forum. Someone posted a picture of the exact same penny I had tossed, saying it sold for $10,000. My heart sank faster than a stone in a lake. That day, I vowed to never underestimate the power of spare change again. Lesson learned, folks. So, why is this penny worth $1.1 million today? Well, rarity is king in the world of coin collecting. Only a handful of these double die error pennies exist in pristine condition. And when a collector with deep pockets wants to add one to their collection, the bidding wars can get intense. The most recent sale set a record at $1.1 million. That's the kind of money that can pay off your mortgage, buy a dream car, or fund an epic vacation to every country you've ever wanted to visit. You don't need to be a coin expert to spot one of these. All you need is a magnifying glass and a little patience. Check the date on your 1978 D penny. Look closely at the 8 in the year and the D mint mark below it. If the design looks doubled or slightly misaligned, you might be holding a piece of history and a ticket to early retirement. So, what are you waiting for? Grab that jar of pennies from your nightstand, your couch cushions, or wherever spare change goes to hide. Who knows? You could be sitting on $1 million jackpot. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins worth money, strategies to build your collection, and stories about rare finds, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you learned something new, or if you're heading straight to your coin stash right now. Thanks for watching, and remember, the next time someone says, "It's just a penny," you can tell them, "Not if it's from 1978. We're diving into a coin that's been making waves in the numismatic world, the 1984 Lincoln penny with a D mint mark. Yup, you heard that right, a humble penny that's now worth $1.2 million. If you've ever walked past a penny on the ground thinking, it's just a penny, this video is about to make you rethink everything. Now, before you run off to raid your piggy banks or grandma's coin jar, stick around because I'm going to break down what makes this little copper treasure so valuable, how to identify if your penny is the jackpot, and even share a little story about my own coin hunting mishap. Let's jump in. First off, let's talk about the why. Why on earth would a coin worth a single cent suddenly be valued at over $1 million? The answer lies in a rare error, a kind of oops moment during the minting process. For the 1984 D penny, this error is known as a double die. Basically, when the coin's design was stamped onto the blank penny, it got hit twice, but not perfectly aligned. This creates a noticeable doubling effect, especially on the letters and numbers. The Liberty on the coin and the date 1984 are the most obvious places to spot this. Imagine your eyes going a little cross-eyed after one too many cups of coffee. That's what it looks like. And of course, rarity equals value. Only a handful of these pennies are known to exist, which is why collectors are willing to pay top dollar. Or, in this case, top million. Now, here's where you'll need a magnifying glass, or, if you're like me, those reading glasses you swore you'd never need. Grab any 1984 D penny you have and check for these telltale signs. Look closely at the word Liberty on the coin. If the letters appear slightly doubled, you might be in business. Check the 1984 for the same effect. The numbers might look like they've been shadowed or have a ghost next to them. Make sure there's a little D under the date. No D? No million bucks. Here's a tip. Lighting is key. Natural light works wonders, but if you're feeling fancy, invest in a good coin loop. Just don't do what I did and accidentally drop your penny down the sink while examining it. Trust me, plumbing bills are not part of the coin hunting budget. All right, here's the part you've been waiting for. The 1984 D penny with the double die error recently sold at auction for a whopping $1.2 million. That's right, $1.2 million. Let's put that into perspective. That's enough to buy a house, a couple of luxury cars, or about 1 million cups of coffee. But before you start planning your new millionaire lifestyle, remember that condition matters. A penny in pristine condition, what collectors call MS-65 or higher, is where the big bucks come in. If yours has been through the ringer, it might still fetch a decent price, but don't expect to retire on it. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I found a 1984 penny while cleaning out an old desk drawer. I got so excited thinking I'd struck gold, or, in this case, copper, that I immediately posted a picture online to a coin collector group. Within seconds, someone commented, "Nice try, but that's not even a Denver Mint penny. Double check your mint marks, folks." It was a humbling moment, but it also ignited my passion for coin collecting. Now, every time I see a penny, I can't help but flip it over and inspect it like a detective on a mission. And hey, maybe my dream penny is still out there. So, there you have it, the fascinating story of the 1984 D Lincoln penny worth $1.2 million. Who knew that something so small and seemingly insignificant could be such a big deal? If you're feeling inspired to start your own coin hunt, I say go for it. You never know what treasures might be hiding in plain sight. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got more tips, stories, and strategies coming your way to help you spot coins worth serious cash. And trust me, you don't want to miss out, because the next big discovery could be sitting in your pocket right now. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, meh, just 1 cent? Well, what if I told you there's a 1967 Lincoln penny out there? No mint mark, and it's worth $1.3 million. Yes, you heard me. Million with an M. I know, right? Who knew Lincoln could pay off your mortgage? Stick around because today, we're diving into this rare coin, what makes it special, and how you might find one in your pocket change. Spoiler alert, you might want to check that jar of pennies collecting dust on your kitchen counter. So, what's the deal with this penny? First off, 1967 was a funky year for coin collectors. Back then, the US Mint was in full hustle mode, trying to keep up with coin production. To speed things up, they decided to skip mint marks entirely for that year. No P for Philadelphia, no D for Denver, no S for San Francisco. Just plain pennies, nickels, dimes, you name it. But here's the twist. Among the millions of ordinary 1967 pennies, a few rare gems made it out with some unique characteristics. Some had minting errors, like double strikes, off-center designs, or other quirks that collectors drool over. The particular one we're talking about, our $1.3 million superstar, has a fascinating story. It's believed to be a proof coin accidentally released into circulation. Proof coins are specially made for collectors, with extra sharp details and a mirror-like finish. They're not supposed to end up jingling around in your pocket with gum wrappers. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I got into coin collecting as a hobby. One day, I was at a garage sale and spotted an old jar of coins for $5. I thought, why not? Maybe I'll find a wheat penny or two. Little did I know, I was about to embark on the most tedious treasure hunt of my life. I spent hours sifting through that jar, only to find a handful of interesting coins and a Canadian penny. No million-dollar Lincoln. But hey, the thrill of the hunt was worth it. And who knows, maybe next time, right? How to identify the 1967 no-mint mark penny? All right, back to business. If you're looking for this penny, here's what to check. It must be 1967. No exceptions. There should be none. Remember, no mint marks were issued that year. Coins in better condition are worth more. If it's shiny, crisp, and has that proof-like finish, you're on the right track. Look closely for any unusual features like a mirror-like surface or crisp details that set it apart. Pro tip: get yourself a magnifying glass and a good coin book, or better yet, take it to a trusted coin dealer for an expert opinion. So, how does this humble penny hit the $1.3 million mark? Simple: rarity, condition, and demand. Only a handful of these proof-like coins are believed to exist, making them insanely valuable to collectors. At a recent auction, one of these bad boys sold for $1.3 million. Imagine the bidding war for that penny. It must have been spicier than a reality TV reunion. All right, folks, here's the bottom line. The 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln penny might just be hiding in your change jar, your wallet, or even under your couch cushions. And if you find one, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Just think, one little penny could change your life, literally. Before you go rummaging through your pennies, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'll be sharing more tips on spotting rare coins, money strategies, and even how to turn this hobby into a profitable side hustle. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. And hey, if you do find a million-dollar penny, remember who told you about it first. Cushions found a penny and thought, just 1 cent? Well, today, I'm about to blow your mind. That little copper coin in your pocket might just be worth millions. Yes, millions with an M. We're talking about the 1991 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that's been turning heads and breaking bank accounts in the collector world. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this penny is so special, how to spot it, and, most importantly, why someone would pay $1.4 million for it. So, let's dive right in. The 1991 Lincoln penny without a mint mark is one of those fascinating coin world mysteries. Now, most coins minted in the United States have a little letter that tells you where they were made: P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. But the no-mint mark penny? That's a whole different ballgame. These were minted in Philadelphia, but the mint forgot to stamp them with their usual P. Oops. What started as a simple oversight has turned into one of the most sought-after errors in coin history. Now, why is this little mistake so valuable? Rarity and condition. The fewer coins like this out there, the more collectors are willing to fork over. And if your penny is in pristine condition, what collectors call MS-65 red or higher, it's basically the Rolls-Royce of pennies. That's what makes the value skyrocket. Let me put it into perspective. Imagine you're at a garage sale, digging through an old jar of coins, and you stumble upon this gem. It looks just like every other penny, until you realize it's the 1991 no mint mark penny. Congratulations, you've just hit the jackpot. In fact, a high-grade version of this penny recently sold for $1.4 million at auction. Yep, someone paid more for a penny than most people pay for a house. Now, here's where it gets fun. A few years ago, I decided to check out an old coin jar I inherited from my grandpa. It was stuffed to the brim with pennies, nickels, and all sorts of random coins. I thought, it's probably just pocket change. But then, I stumbled on a penny that looked different. No mint mark, a little shinier than the rest. My heart skipped a beat. Was this the elusive $1 million coin? Spoiler alert, it wasn't. But hey, it was worth a few bucks, and I gotta brag to my friends about my almost treasure find. Grab a magnifying glass or, if you're like me, just squint real hard. Look at the space below the date on the coin. If there's no letter there, you might be in business. Make sure the coin's condition is good, no scratches or tarnish. That's what makes it valuable. And if you think you've found one, get it checked by a professional coin grading service. Seriously, don't just stick it in a piggy bank and forget about it. So, what's the moral of the story here? Never underestimate the power of a penny. That little coin in your change jar could change your life. And hey, even if you don't find the 1991 no mint mark penny, you'll have a blast searching for it. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's an adventure. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on spotting coins worth serious cash, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss my next video. Who knows? The next time you check your pocket change, you might just strike it rich. You're digging through your couch cushions, maybe looking for some spare change for the vending machine, and you stumble across a penny. Just a regular OL penny, right? Wrong. What if I told you that penny could be worth $1.5 million? Yep, we're talking life-changing money, folks. And the star of the show today is the 1994 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, before you start flipping over every coin in your house, stick around, because I'm going to tell you exactly why this little copper wonder is worth so much, how to spot one, and what you can do if you're lucky enough to find it. Plus, I'll throw in a story about my own penny hunting adventures. Spoiler alert. It involves a lot of disappointment but also a lot of laughs. What's the deal with no mint mark? So, let's start with the basics. Most pennies have a tiny letter on them that tells you where they were minted. P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. But the 1994 penny we're talking about? It has no mint mark at all. Nada. And that's what makes it special. You see, back in 1994, a batch of pennies was accidentally minted without the little identifying mark. It's like they left the factory naked. Normally, these kinds of errors are caught and corrected, but a few slip through the cracks. And now, collectors are willing to shell out big bucks. $1.5 million, to be exact. For one of these rare gems, it's not just the no mint mark that makes this penny valuable. It's also about condition. Coin collectors are like those picky people at the grocery store inspecting every single avocado. They want perfection. So, if you find a 1994 no mint mark penny, but it's all scratched up or looks like it's been through a lawnmower, it's probably not going to make you a millionaire. The Holy Grail is a penny in mint state, meaning it looks as fresh as the day it was made. If you're lucky enough to find one, you could be sitting on a small fortune. And by small, I mean life-altering.my, mostly unsuccessful, penny hunting adventure now. Let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I got bit by the coin hunting bug. I decided I was going to search every penny I came across for hidden treasures. So, I grabbed a giant jar of change I'd been saving since college, probably $50 worth of coins, and started sorting. 4 hours, I examined every penny under a magnifying glass, looking for rare dates, mint marks, and errors. Did I find a 1994 no mint mark penny? Nope. Did I find a 1972 double die penny? Also nope. What I did find was a new appreciation for just how dirty coins are. Pro tip: wash your hands when you're done. But even though I didn't strike it rich, I had a blast. It's like a treasure hunt, and you never know when you might find something amazing. How to spot and sell a 1994 no mint mark penny. If you're ready to start your own coin hunting journey, here's what you need to do. First, grab a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. You're going to want to inspect every 1994 penny you come across for the absence of a mint mark. Pay special attention to the condition. It should look shiny and new. If you think you've found one, don't go running to eBay just yet. You'll want to have it authenticated and graded by a professional. This is super important because buyers will only pay top dollar for coins that have been certified as genuine, and once it's verified, well, let's just say you're going to have a very good day. The story of the 1994 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and why it's worth a jaw-dropping $1.5 million. Who knew a little copper coin could make such a big difference, right? Now, here's your next step. Go grab that jar of spare change, dig through your car's cup holders, and start looking. You never know. Your financial breakthrough could be sitting in your pocket right now. And hey, if you love learning about coins that could make you rich, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and stories to share about the world of collectible coins. You're rifling through your pocket change, looking for a penny to toss into the nearest fountain. Suddenly, you stumble upon a humble 1987 Lincoln penny. Looks ordinary, right? But what if I told you it could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million? That's right, a penny worth more than a luxury home. Stay tuned, because today we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1987 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, its mind-boggling value, and what makes it so special. Oh, and I'll even share a little story about how I almost missed out on a coin jackpot myself. Spoiler alert, I'm still kicking myself. What's the deal with the 1987 no mint mark penny? First things first, what is a no mint mark penny? Most coins are stamped with a little letter indicating where they were minted, like a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But in 1987, something strange happened. A batch of pennies came out without any mint mark at all. It's like they just forgot. This made these pennies super rare and, over time, insanely valuable. The no mint mark itself isn't the only reason this penny is a showstopper. The 1987 no mint mark penny also boasts a high-grade, error-free condition, which is incredibly rare for pennies in circulation. Most of our poor pennies get scratched up, bent, or tossed into jars, but these rare gems manage to stay pristine. You might be thinking, how does a 1-cent coin jump to $1.6 million? It's all about supply and demand. Coin collectors, also known as numismatists, yeah, I had to Google how to pronounce that one, are always on the hunt for unique and rare finds. When you combine rarity, historical significance, and a pristine condition, the value skyrockets. Think of it like the coin version of a Picasso painting, rare and coveted by collectors. In fact, in a recent auction, one of these coins sold for $1.6 million to a collector who probably has a vault straight out of a James Bond movie. Rummaging through your piggy bank to see if you've struck gold, well, copper in this case. To identify a 1987 no mint mark penny, look for the date 1987 on the front of the coin. Check under the year. If there's no little letter, like D or S, congratulations, you might be holding a no mint mark penny. Inspect the condition. The shinier and more pristine, the better. You don't need to be an expert. A good magnifying glass and some patience will do. Don't get too excited just yet. A professional coin grader will need to verify its authenticity. Speaking of patience, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was helping my grandma clean out her attic. You know, one of those chore bribes where she promises cookies if you lift a dozen heavy boxes. Anyway, I stumbled upon an old jar filled with pennies. One of them looked oddly shiny, and the year? 1987. I got super excited, thinking I had hit the coin lottery. But after a closer look, there it was, a tiny D under the year. Heartbreaking, right? The cookies didn't even taste as sweet after that. Moral of the story? Check every penny, but maybe don't count your chickens before they hatch. always check your pocket change. You never know when a rare coin will sneak into circulation. Visit flea markets and garage sales. People often sell coins without knowing their value. Invest in a coin book or app. These can help you identify rare finds. All right, folks, there you have it, the fascinating tale of the 1987 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin worth more than a Lamborghini. Who knew something so small could hold such massive value? Now, it's your turn. Check your jars, your couch cushions, and even that pile of change in your car's cup holder. And before you go, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Here on this channel, we're all about uncovering hidden treasures, sharing coin collecting tips, and maybe even helping you find your next jackpot. Don't miss out. You never know what could be lurking in your spare change. What if I told you that a simple penny, yes, a plain old Lincoln penny from 1964, could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.7 million today? That's not a typo. We're talking enough money to buy a dream car, a vacation home, or an endless supply of tacos. So, why is this little coin worth more than most of our bank accounts combined? And more importantly, could you have one of these gems hiding in your piggy bank or coin jar right now? Stick around, because we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1964 D. Lincoln penny. First, let's talk basics. The D in 1964, D stands for the Denver Mint, where this particular penny was made. Now, you might think, it's just a penny. What's so special about it? Well, here's the kicker. This penny wasn't supposed to exist. The U.S. Mint switched from minting coins with dates from 1964 to 1965, but a small batch of pennies with the 1964 date and the Denver Mint mark slipped through the cracks. These coins are what collectors call transitional errors, and they're like finding a golden ticket in a chocolate bar, only better. So, why the jaw-dropping price tag? It all comes down to rarity and demand. The 1964 D penny is incredibly rare, with only a handful known to exist. Coin collectors are like detectives with deep pockets, and when they spot something rare, the bidding wars begin. Imagine a Beyoncé concert with only 10 tickets available. What would people pay to be there? That's the same energy coin collectors bring to rare finds like this. Plus, the condition of the coin matters too. If it's in pristine shape, untouched by time, the value skyrockets. Now, here's a little story about my own penny adventure. Years ago, I found a shiny old penny while cleaning out my car. It had a D mint mark, and I got so excited, thinking I'd struck it rich. I even called my mom and said, "Pack your bags, we're moving to Hawaii." Turns out it was a 1984 D penny worth, wait for it, 1 cent. Lesson learned. Always double-check your dates before planning a millionaire lifestyle. All right, so how can you tell if you've got one of these elusive pennies? It must say 1964 and have a small D under the date. The shinier and less worn it looks, the better. If you think you've hit the jackpot, don't guess. Take it to a coin expert. If you've got an old stash of coins from a grandparent or a yard sale, now's the time to dig it out and start hunting. The 1964 D. Lincoln penny is proof that sometimes the smallest things can have the biggest value. Who knew that a humble coin most of us overlook could turn out to be worth more than a Lamborghini? Grab a magnifying glass, start checking your loose change, and see if you've got a $1.7 million penny sitting in your pocket. And hey, if you're into uncovering hidden treasures like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our coin-loving community. Because whether you're searching for rare coins or just love a good story, we've got you covered with tips, strategies, and plenty of laughs. Imagine this. You're at the grocery store, fumbling through your pocket for change, and out pops a penny. A penny. Worth? Wait for it. $1.8 million. That's right, today, we're talking about the 1979 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a little coin with a big payday. So, before you toss that penny in the tip jar or lose it under your car seat, you might want to stick around. Trust me, this could be the best 25 minutes you've ever spent learning about a piece of copper. Let's dive in. So, what's the deal with this 1979 penny? First, let's break it down. Most coins have a mint mark, a little letter that tells you where it was made, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and so on. But in 1979, a small batch of Lincoln pennies rolled off the presses without any mint mark at all. Yup, naked pennies. Mint employees must have had one too many cups of coffee that day, or maybe they just forgot to stamp the die. Either way, this little oopsie turned into a jackpot. Now, here's where it gets juicy. These no-mint mark pennies are incredibly rare. Out of the billions of pennies minted in 1979, only a handful are missing that tiny mint mark. And when I say rare, I mean rare. One of these bad boys recently sold for a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. Let that sink in for a second. How to spot the 1979 no-mint mark penny. Alright, so how do you know if you've hit the penny lottery? Grab your change jar. I'll wait. Got it? Great. Now, look for a 1979 penny and check under the date. No-mint mark? Bingo. But hold on, don't go quitting your day job just yet. Condition is everything. If your penny looks like it's been through a garbage disposal, it's not going to make you a millionaire. These high-value coins are usually in near-perfect condition, also known as MS-65 in coin collector lingo. Pro tip: if you're unsure, take your penny to a professional coin grader. Or, if you're like me and love dramatic reveals, you could set up a little coin inspection station in your kitchen. Just don't let your cat sweat the $1 million penny off the counter. You might be wondering, why would anyone pay millions for a penny? Fair question. Coin collectors are a special breed. They're not just buying a coin. They're buying history, rarity, and bragging rights. Owning a 1979 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is like having the Mona Lisa of pocket change. Plus, there's always that thrill of being the person who owns something almost nobody else has. I once found an old coin in my grandpa's attic and thought I'd struck gold. Turns out, it was worth about 50 cents. But the excitement of imagining it was priceless? That's what drives collectors. And hey, maybe your attic or junk drawer is hiding the real deal. If you're lucky enough to have a 1979 no-mint mark penny, what's next? First, don't spend it. Seriously, that's a $1 million mistake waiting to happen. Instead, get it authenticated by a reputable coin dealer or grading service like PCGS or NGC. Once it's verified, you can auction it off or sell it to a private collector. Keep your cool during negotiations. You don't want to look like you're about to faint when they offer you 6 or 7 figures. Practice your poker face. Mine needs work. I'd probably scream, "I'll take it," before they even finish their sentence. Alright, folks, let's recap. The 1979 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is proof that even the smallest things can pack a huge punch. With a current market value of $1.8 million, this little piece of copper could change your life. So, before you dismiss your spare change as just, well, change, give it a second look. You might just strike gold, or, in this case, copper. And hey, if you loved learning about the secret treasures hiding in plain sight, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more tips on coins worth big money and how you can turn your pocket change into a fortune. Thanks for watching, and remember, keep hunting, keep hustling, and keep your eyes on the prize.